All right. So just to get started, if we can have everyone introduce themselves in the chat, please drop in your name, your pronouns, and where in Colorado you are joining us from. Because I see today we have some people from all over. While we are all adding our intros into the chat, I'll just remind everyone of our Advocates Network community commitments. Those are to move up and move back. So think about how you would normally show up in a space like this and maybe push yourself either to speak up more than you might normally or to give some space to other people to make sure that everyone has a chance. We also know that no one knows everything, but together we know a lot, and we're here to learn together. And finally, in Advocates Network space, we like to presume positive intent, but also want to acknowledge the impact of the things that we say and do. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with Great Ed's vision and mission, but just as a quick refresher, our vision is that through public education, every student across our state, regardless of the color of their skin or their zip code or the language they speak at home or any part of their identity, that all students graduate prepared to lead their best life. And we work toward this vision by harnessing the power of grassroots activism and diverse, inclusive networks. And just a reminder, this Advocates Network, the space that we're in today, is our community where aspiring change makers become action ambassadors for public education. We have folks on this call who've been in this work for decades. We have folks on this call who are newer to this space and this work. But together we are working to make sure that our public schools are welcoming and that they're adequately, equitably, and sustainably funded. I want to give a quick reminder and plug to sign up for our August meeting next month. It's on Tuesday, August 11th at 4:30, and I will drop the link in the chat. Okay. So thanks for hanging in for that introductory material. But without further ado, I am very excited to pass it over to Adrienne, who can kick us off from here.
Thanks, Kristen. Hi, everyone. My name is Adrienne Russman, she, her. I run an organization called Reimagine Colorado. The illustrious Lisa Weil sits on our steering committee. So very grateful to Lisa's leadership and vision as we've helped kick this organization off. She shares a lot about the work that is happening at Great Ed and in the education space. So really delighted to be here today. She asked me to come talk about an initiative that we are running in partnership with our friends at the Colorado Fiscal Institute called Vision 2076. Thank you, Kristen. So Vision 2076, obviously we are in 2026 right now. 2076 may feel a long way off, but Reimagine Colorado and the Fiscal Institute got together and have been thinking a bit about how the way things happen in our society is it's awfully short term, and if we don't know where we're going, we are unlikely to get to we're unlikely to get to where we want to be if we're only thinking 2 feet in front of our face. And so we put together this initiative here as an opportunity to hear from Coloradans around the state about the future that they want to see for our state 50 years from now, so that we can then start building and doing the hard work of actually getting ourselves there. So given the work that you all do and your, the statewide reach, I saw Boulder, Steamboat, Fort Collins, Westminster. I know Lisa's calling in from Greeley today. This was a really good opportunity for us to come share a little bit about what we're doing, invite you to participate, and hopefully ask for your support in spreading this to your community so that we can start hearing from all of the people that we want to hear from. So Kristen, if we can go to the next slide. So I want to just start a little bit with like, how did we get here? I alluded to some of this. I think some of what we have seen in our, our analysis of how we solve our problems is that we are too prone to short-term thinking, which leads us to a sense of urgency all the time. If every problem is urgent, we are solving problems with band-aids instead of actually getting to root causes. What we're seeing right now is that polarization dominates in our two-party system. If whatever it is you're for, I'm against it. So that leads us into less collaboration. And ultimately we're missing that shared long-term vision. So that's what Vision 2076 aims to kind of address in all of this. It's issue agnostic. We went around, I think some of you have participated in some of our in-person events. Last year, we went around to 9 different communities around the state and did these events in person where we asked people to time travel with us into the future to 2076 and create some artifacts about what life looks like, and then bring those artifacts back to 2026 with them, which was kind of what led us initially to some of the conclusions. We've got up on our website the report from the 9 communities we visited and the 250 people we talked to. I'll say that the really kind of interesting and surprising thing that we learned was that despite the broad difference in communities as diverse and differentiated as, we were in Montrose and Colorado Springs, Pueblo, we were up in Fort Collins, we were out in Fort Morgan, the same issues and the same kind of topics kept coming up over and over again. And what this told us was that we needed to hear from more people. And so what we did was we came back together and figured out how to take this online. There are no arts and crafts, unfortunately, but we have an online platform that now allows us to hear from anyone, anywhere in the state in under 5 minutes, which is, I think, a pretty cool opportunity. So if we can carry on, next slide, please. So the kind of guiding quote behind everything we're doing with Vision 2076 is that we are living in a world someone else imagined and asking people, what is the world that you imagine? So what I'm going to ask us all to do today is actually get into it. Can we go to the next slide? So I mentioned we're trying to hear from people all over the state. We want to hear from 10,000 Coloradans between June 1st and September 30th of this year. And what we're going to do with all of this at the end is, we're asking people for, to share a little bit about who they are, who they represent. And the goal is to then take what we learn from this and build, have a community built, a bottom-up framework that we can take to lawmakers, to planners, to funders, communities, advocates, that the information we learn from this initiative will be useful to all of us in whatever missions our various organizations have and whatever issues we're working on. This is kind of the first step of many. It's more fun. The hard work comes after this. Envisioning the future it's a little challenging, but hopefully it's mostly fun. When we come up with our vision, then we can have something to unite around. And then we get to start the work of like, all right, how do we actually get there together? Looking across issues, looking across geographies, across all of the different lines of difference that we have as Coloradans. So I'm going to actually walk you through the platform today and then have you go on and participate. Kristen, can we get to the next slide, please? But before I let you journey into the future, I want to do a little bit of time travel to the past, just to kind of get us ready and see how much things can actually change in 50 years. Because when we look into the future, oftentimes we are prone as humans to think too small. Um, so in this space, I have two questions for you. What did Colorado look like in 1976, 50 years ago? And what is something about Colorado today that no one in 1976 would have ever predicted? It's a small group, so if this was larger, we might put you into breakout rooms. But I think, given the size of the group, feel free to come off mute and just answer, or feel free to put your thoughts in the chat as well. And feel free to answer either question, and I'll just refer back to your guiding norms of step up, step back. So don't, share your thoughts, but don't monopolize the space.
There was no internet.
Yeah, huge.
So no email. People communicated through mail and telephone.
All right. I'm seeing in the chat, rural. I was born in 84. There were way more ranches, fewer hospitals, no DIA. We had Stapleton. Absolutely.
There was nowhere near the traffic we have today. So the population was a lot smaller,
All
a
right.
lot more rural, even in the metro area.
Yep.
And along those lines, Denver was considered a cow town.
Uh-huh.
And actually,
Haven't we
just
grown 50% of our population in 25 years? Or are those statistics even accurate? I don't know. It's a bunch, I know, but
Uh-huh.
50, it seems to me we've grown by a factor of 50% in the 25 years I've lived here, 26 years I've lived here.
Yeah, lots more people here.
Well,
Exponential growth.
we've gotten two more congressional districts since 76.
Right.
True. More representation at the federal level. Lisa, I saw you come off mute.
yeah, I was thinking about Denver. In 1976, we had just a few years, or Denver had voted to do urban renewal and just wiped out all the old buildings and left all the parking lots that's what I thought was normal in a downtown, which is now filled in. But it's Denver has changed remarkably, sort of tearing down, building back up, and the I-25 corridor for one, and both north and south of Denver has just exploded. That's the traffic has moved here, and the demands on civic on water and resources has skyrocketed.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody from Greeley the other day who was complaining about traffic in Greeley, which was that was a new thing for me for sure. Anything? Let's stay on here for just a moment. What is something that about Colorado today that no one would have predicted in 1976?
I'm thinking about climate change, and there was a little talk about it maybe in 76, but nothing compared to what we're dealing with today. Because one of the things I was thinking of in 76, yeah, there were fires, but not like today. And the beetle kill, I don't think
Mm,
was imagined back then.
yeah, thanks. I think about that comment somebody made about Denver being a cow town, and I think about like restaurants in Denver now get Michelin stars. It's kind of wild, being a food destination. Tom, I see you came off mute.
It strikes me that the answers we gave to the first question about what was different about Colorado or what it was like 50 years ago are provide some of the same answers to the second question as well.
Sure.
So a lot of them were things we didn't anticipate or expect necessarily, or maybe even give much thought to. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people being able to work from home. Yeah, that's huge. You can live in an entirely different community than the one you work in.
Right.
All right.
I
Well,
just
thanks.
thought of
Go
something
ahead.
else about today is the homeless population. It was probably there in 76, but not like today. I
Yeah.
mean, it's epidemic today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for going along and time traveling back in time with me. I heard a lot of really interesting things. The idea of like Denver as a cow town to like a world-class city, destination, location, the idea of like traffic everywhere, our just exponential population growth, um, what that has meant both like functionally in terms of how our communities and our state function as well as like it also means more representation at a congressional level, so we have more say um, in our federal government as well. But the point of all of this is to really just kind of unlock for us that in 50 years things can change drastically. There is so much about the world that we're living in today that I think would be very shocking to people in 1976. We opened with like the internet for one, and just like how essential our smartphones are to our day-to-day functioning, how we communicate, what it has unlocked for us in terms of like where we live, where we work, the kinds of things we're able to do. And I think probably 50 years from now, things are going to be just as different. So let's keep going in the deck. So what I'm going to ask you all to do, go to vision2076.org or scan the QR code. You can do this on your computer. You can do it on your phone. And I'm going to actually encourage you to get on to the platform, and we're going to take the next, 5 or 6 minutes. And I'm going to have you all walk through and just participate. So Vision 2076 it's a civic engagement platform. It's not a survey. So everything that you see on the platform is submitted by is submitted by a Coloradan just like you, or maybe not just like you. So you'll have the opportunity to go on and react to statements other people have made and say, in the future, this is something that I hope Colorado looks like, or I'm not so sure, or not in my Colorado. You'll have the opportunity to pick across different topics, share further thoughts. If somebody's comments or visions for the future don't quite align with yours, what's missing or what would make this better. And then you'll also have the opportunity to share your own visions for our state's future. Kristen, I don't know if you want to play some pleasant music. Otherwise, we can all just we can go off camera and just let people play around for the next 5 or 6 minutes or so. I can call everybody back.
I will try my best to play some
right.
pleasant music.
I didn't prep you for your DJ responsibilities, so my apologies.
That's okay. I never quite get this right but I'll try to figure it out.
It's okay. If it's too hard, it's what it is. All right, I'll see everybody back here in about 5 minutes.
Okay, so the confirmation code I got was too long and it wouldn't accept the last. Oh, never mind. It had problems accepting the last few digits. It was weird.
Okay. If anybody has any issues, feel free to just drop them in the chat and I can try to help troubleshoot.
Oh, I got it. That's great.
I'm having issues trying to put in a response. I try to click on the response and it won't. It says I didn't do it. Unless the only thing that works is not sure.
Are you doing it on your phone?
I see. Okay, I just got it. Okay. Sorry.
No worries. All right, if everyone wants to take maybe one more minute, and finish up whatever you're on, and I'll note that you can come back to this anytime you want. All right, I'm going to call us back together. Thank you so much, everyone, for getting on there. Let's go to the next slide. I want us to have a little bit of conversation just about what we saw or experienced. So again, feel free, pick one of these questions to answer. Feel free to type it in the chat or come off mute as you feel comfortable. What was one statement that you saw in there that made you think, yeah, that's my Colorado. This is something I want to see. Or alternatively, was there something that surprised you, a future that you hadn't imagined, or a reaction you had that you didn't expect? I guess these are more than one question. This is here we go. But what all did you see in there?
Fully funding schools.
All right, yeah. I'm not surprised from this group.
I saw a couple things about taxing the ultra wealthy to make sure that we can pay for the things we need, which fits well into the work that we've been talking about here for the last few months, and we'll keep talking about.
Anyone else? All right. Amy in the chat says she didn't see anything about strengthened neighborhood networks or a strong public transportation system that values walking and biking, but maybe I didn't get that far. All right. Well, yeah, those are really good. I'll encourage if you didn't see something in there that you wished you had seen. I know I didn't give you a whole lot of time on the platform, but I definitely encourage you to get back on there and share your visions as well. Those all get added into the mix. So other people start seeing them and responding to them as well. I know that was something that came up in some of our in-person events. In particular, we had somebody in Colorado Springs who had a really cool multimodal transit, a whole transit system designed that I think looked pretty cool. I'd like to live in the Colorado where I can get on my bike and ride it to a train station. Take the train from the Springs all the way up to Fort Collins. All right, maybe one more person. All right. Well, I guess we were feeling like a quiet bunch when it comes to the future. We had more to say about the past, but that's all right. All right. So I gave you guys a little taste of the platform. I know I didn't give you a ton of time on there. One of the cool things about the platform is that we are sharing all of the results kind of live. So if you are somebody who nerds out on data, you can log back in at any time and make your way over to the results page where you can see all of the statements that you voted on, how that compares to like what the pool of people who have voted on the same statements has, what that looks like, and you can toggle different demographic toggles on and off so you can see how people across, different age ranges or geographic locations are voting on the same statements that you're voting on, which is pretty neat. We have a heat map. As we get more people participating, the heat map will populate. You can also see how different statements are resonating, whether there's like a lot of consensus or a lot of disagreement across issues. And I want to just be really clear that that we're not looking for agreement necessarily. I think this is an open question about like how Coloradans of all stripes feel about different issues. We're really looking for, are there places of convergence, but where are there places of divergence as well? Because I think both of those different kinds of data points tells us something interesting about how people are feeling in this current moment and what is feasible. We talked a lot. I mentioned at the top of the conversation that polarization is a big issue. I think from my experience talking to people around the state, polarization maybe happens in newspapers and in the state house more than it does in everyday conversations. I actually think that, and Amy or Kristen, you had this comment in the chat about like lots of people being able to thrive. And I think when we open our aperture a little bit wider than 2 feet in front of our face, at the end of the day, we all do want really similar things. And I don't know if anybody got into the civic participation, like category in there, but I think there is a real desire, I think, for people, among people, to see us having conversations based on curiosity, even if we're not all in agreement all the time. So I'm
There's
going to shift us over. Yeah, Tom.
Oh, I was just going to say there's a book I just started reading about 50 pages into it called How Democracies Die. And one of the points that they make is that um, people have to be willing to reach across aisles and work with people that they might not generally agree with, ideologically speaking. And it just got me thinking about how we need to recognize our neighbors who are different than us ideologically and feel comfortable with them. And there is a level at which when we're thinking about being neighbors, we're just neighbors, and it doesn't matter who the person is ideologically or what they represent or what argument you may have had with them in the past. The fact that they're neighbors and that they live in the same community and share some of the same realities with you is more important than that at those moments. And I think
Yeah,
that's very significant.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm honestly, I'm hopeful that, at the end of this, that a lot of the data that we collect will support that broader concept.
Right.
That even if we have disagreements about how we might get somewhere, that we want our kids to be educated, that we want people to be able to afford to live in the communities they want to live in, those kinds of things. All right, Kristen, can we move on to the next slide, please? I want to make sure that we leave time for questions from all of you. So I am coming to you not only with a cool civic engagement platform, but also asking for your help. We are trying to hear from 10,000 Coloradans around the state. You all come to this work with your own networks, with your own connections. And the way that an initiative like this succeeds is by people like you leveraging your networks and your connections and all the people that you know to participate as well. So we have lots of ways that you can help support this work. If you only have 5 minutes, you already kind of did it today. Participate, get onto the platform, experience it, play around with it, add your own visions, respond to visions that are on there. Share, text your friends. I just did this. It was cool. You should do it too. Personal outreach is best. You can send an email. We also have on the Vision 2076 website, we have an outreach toolkit. It's got sample language for social media posts, for newsletter content, for personal emails, for organizational emails. If you have a network at all, we would love for you to share this with your network. If you have more time and you're really interested in this, can you connect us with your networks? So the same activity that I just ran with you, you can run to your organization with your organization. We have a group activity toolkit that will walk you through how to run, an activity just like the one I did with you, anywhere between 15 minutes to 60 minutes. You can do it with a church group, with a book club, with your staff. You can do it online or in person. So happy to have you download that. We also have all of our outreach materials are in both English and Spanish. So trying to reach lots of different folks. Or I'm happy to come present to your group just like I did here. The other ask is, can you help us by leveraging your network in different ways? Can you introduce us to others, organizations that work with youth, organizations in rural communities, business communities, faith communities? We are really trying hard to get the word out and hit up as many different people as we can, and get really good participation. So that's my ask to you all today. I'm going to put my email in the chat if you have thoughts. But for the last, let's see, checking our time, for the last about 5 minutes, I'm happy to answer any questions you have, either about the initiative or any, really anything.
I'm curious what maybe you can speak personally about it. I don't know for sure, but um, why are we doing this?
So, yeah, no, I think it's a good question. We're doing this because the way that we've seen our the way that we've seen our policies created, whether it's on the ballot or at the state house, it's not working as well as it could be working.
Have to
Um,
do with the short-term versus long-term vision thing? Is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it kind of spans a couple of different things. First is the short term versus longer term thinking. I think our state budget has been in a shambles. I don't think that's overstating it.
Yeah.
Uh, it has been, and I think it will continue to be a really hard budget situation, and it's going to require some really hard choices. And I think without a clear picture of where we want to go, those hard term choices force us into that urgency mentality. We're cutting programs, we're cutting services for the people who need them most. Instead of thinking, broadly or strategically. I'll kind of give an example of, one of the things I used to work in state government. One of the things you'd hear a lot was, gosh, if we could only get like a one-time, huge infusion of money, we could get off our hamster wheel of react, 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 and actually do the preventative work that we all want to do. And COVID hit, and we got that one-time huge infusion of money. And say what you will, I think we could have spent it better. I think if somebody had had a plan for what
What to do with it?
to do with that one-time cash infusion that was ready to pull off a shelf and ready to enact, we could have had a really different response than the one we did. Um, and so I think with Vision 2076, what we're hoping to create is that plan that we can pull off the shelf. I'm not saying we're going to get a one-time huge cash infusion ever again, but
Right.
certainly if we can start working on the plan to actually get us to the results that we want to achieve, like let's do it. We shouldn't get caught flat-footed like that ever again.
Hmm.
The other issue that I think I'm really interested for this to start conversations around is oftentimes we view different issues in their kind of issue silos when I think all of us know that they are connected. Um, kids showing up to school hungry, um, you don't learn as well. You're not going to do as well in school. We have to start treating our issues as interconnected. And so I'm hoping that this will also start some conversations around, what does a good life look like? Um,
Those are
and
great selling points. Thank you for those.
yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? I know we're short on time here.
Are you envisioning potential ballot initiatives or legislation to kind of push the needle?
So I think it's a little premature to say that, and I think Reimagine Colorado is right now what we're really interested in is just kind of learning to see what comes out of this. I imagine that there will be some really interesting, juicy things that come out of this that somebody's going to want to turn into a ballot initiative or a policy proposal. I really hope that that is the case. Um, that's not necessarily the goal that we're coming in with. I think we're really interested in understanding a little bit more deeply, like if we talk to everyday Coloradans, is it is what we hear from people around the state the same things that we're hearing from our legislators right now, or are there actually places where we have more traction than we initially thought we might not? You know.
I think if people are looking for policy suggestions, I just read another very interesting book called Burned by Billionaires, which is a little inflammatory title, if you'll excuse the pun. But nonetheless, it's a really informative book. It was written by a guy from Institute for Policy Studies. His name is Chuck Collins, and he talks about what can we do with the situation in some very broad and whole system thinking ways. Let's put it that way. Very
Awesome.
positive.
All right. Well, I am conscientious of time, so I'm going to turn it back over to Kristen. But I put my email in the chat. If anybody wants to follow up, I am I am eager to have any follow-up conversations, whether it's questions, whether it's connections to others, places I should be presenting. And otherwise, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for participating. Really enjoyed hearing from you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Adrienne. Let me get my slides back up. So I realized that after Adrienne started talking that I meant to do a better introduction of how, the reason why we asked her to come and present today. And I know many of the folks on this call are probably eagerly awaiting an update on how things are looking on the ballot measure. I know all of you, I think, have been carrying petitions and gathering literally hundreds of signatures and helping us verify and doing all the things. So we do have that coming in a second, but Lisa in particular was really excited to invite Adrienne and really just, I think her presentation highlighted so well, of course, that even as we're working towards these more short-term things, we need to have like the long-term vision in mind. And I know that's something that we've talked about in this space in different ways as well, not as maybe far-reaching or concretely as Vision 2076. But I hope that this activity has felt meaningful and sort of grounding for all of us today. It certainly did for me, and I know I'm going to send it to friends and keep talking about it and thinking about it. But I hope that this work what Adrienne shared with us today and sort of started a conversation about, can keep us grounded as we continue with Protect Colorado's Future and all of the work that is to come. Now, with that said, I know that you're probably waiting for some numbers. This is a picture from one of the turn-in parties that we had yesterday in Denver. There was also one in Fort Collins, and there's, I believe, one in Colorado Springs tomorrow. And Dawn Fritz, who's often on the call, I don't believe she's here today. She hosted one in Arvada. We have a lot of folks who are mailing things back to us. We have been promised lots of packages that will arrive later this week or next week. So those are not included in these numbers. The most recent number that I have seen was from 3 p.m. today, where we had 71,609 signatures logged. However, there are almost 7,000 signatures more that we have in hand that we just haven't processed yet, haven't entered in any way. So I think it's fair to say that we are at about 80,000 signatures turned in for the campaign, again, with more to come. The last time I checked, again at 3 p.m., we had verified 51,256 signatures. Oh, and I see Lisa dropped in the chat. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
I was just it's 52,549 as of right now. So we bumped up by 1,300 in 2 hours.
And I think I know some of you here have been to Great Ed in the last week or have gone to CSPC's office in Lafayette to help us verify. I know things have been busy and there's been a lot of work to do for the last couple of months, but Lisa and Annalise and I can really say that things have ticked up in volume and intensity just in the last, since Wednesday of last week. It's been about a week of, as Lisa told us they would, of things pouring into our office. And of course, Great Ed is kind of the central hub for everything. So there's been a lot of work for us to do, but that is a good thing because it means that we're getting the signatures and the numbers that we need. We have verification shifts almost every day at Great Ed, and In Lafayette, they have right now 1 per week. I think they're looking to schedule more. But I see Megan just dropped in the chat. Can we pop in at any time to help? I'm in Colorado Springs, but I would head up. Yes, definitely. We have staff here Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. So even if there's not a verification shift on the calendar, that doesn't mean that we're not here, or we will be working on verification at that time. And we're also working on we're putting together a system to scan some petitions and have people help us with verification virtually. So Megan and other folks that are not, right around the corner from one of our verification places, if that is more your speed, we don't have it quite up and running yet, but I would say, what's today, Tuesday? By the end of this week, certainly, I would think. We've been testing it out today and kind of got things going, but just have a few things that we need to check. So from this number of, so this was from when we had 51,000 signatures verified 2 hours ago. And again, it's jumped up since then. Our highest need Senate districts, maybe to no one's surprise, are Senate District 35, which is most of the Eastern Plains, like the central and southeastern Plains. We have Castle Rock and Monument, and then Colorado Springs. And Centennial, I think, it has been a bit of a surprise for me because I know we have some good people there. I think it's just been a little harder than anticipated maybe to get some signatures from that area. I want to remind everyone as well that we do need, of course, because we're changing the Constitution, we need at least 2% of registered voters from all 35 Senate districts in Colorado. But that being said, achieving that 2% in every district adds up to something like 90,000, Lisa, is that right?
Right.
So we need to achieve that and also have 125,000 valid signatures. So even if a Senate district has closed, meaning it has hit its minimum required number of signatures, it's still helpful to get extra signatures from that area because we have this big, 35,000 signature difference between sort of what the minimum is if we were to get from every district and then what our minimum is overall. What days are they in Lafayette? Jerry, I believe they're there on Tuesdays, although like I said, I think they're going to be scheduling more days soon. So I will make a note of this and I can connect you with them. And I think you have dropped things off before at that office. Oh, Evie says Tuesdays and Fridays in Lafayette right now. Because I know Evie's been there a lot. And then Evie also asked, how many Senate districts have the minimum required? I think 3 of them right now, but I know that many of them are very close. And like with, the volunteer signatures that we got turned in, because as you've all probably gotten many emails and texts about, yesterday was our sort of volunteer deadline, although we're going to keep collecting, and if anyone on this call would like to keep circulating, you are more than welcome to. But we wanted to have more, you are encouraged to do so. But we needed to have sort of a callback day so that we've been verifying this whole time, but so that we can really catch up with where we have signatures from and where we need to focus in the last few weeks. So these numbers will continue to tick up. As I said, we'll continue to keep you posted. There are a number, to Evie's question, there are a number of Senate districts that are very close that we feel confident as we just continue going with the volunteer signatures, that will close soon. And so we're starting to focus more and more paid people in more of the, some of these higher need districts. I realize that maybe not everyone on this call knows that we hired a paid signature gathering firm 2 weeks ago, Lisa, maybe not even quite 2 weeks ago. And they are dropping things off for us on Tuesdays and Fridays. So they dropped off over 7,000 signatures at Great Ed this morning. And I was talking with the staffer from there who was saying, like, normally when they do this work, the first couple drop offs, so this was their third drop off. The first few times it's like a few hundred, and then it really shoots up as they get more and more folks on board.
He refers to it as a hockey stick. It starts going up slowly and then it shoots up. So that's what we're expecting, and that's why we need verifiers.
Yes. So I know all of you on this call here have been with us since March. I know that it's a little bit more down to the wire than would feel comfortable, but we are feeling good about this campaign between our paid folks and our volunteers who've been super committed. Tom, thank God you scheduled your vacation for after July 13th, because I know you've turned in hundreds of signatures by yourself. So thank you.
I'm just glad you saw that, Kristen. That's all.
So to this end, about like what we are doing, what the next couple of weeks hold. This Saturday, we are the coalition is hosting a Canvas launch in Denver. We'll be joined by many state senators, state representatives, and even some of our new candidates. And so we'll be meeting at Martin Luther King Park in Denver at 10:30 for a rally and a Canvas kickoff. This event is open to everyone, whether you have thought you turned in your last petitions, but feel like you have a little bit more left in the tank. If you know anyone who has never gathered a signature before, but would be excited to join this event with their community members, with their local leaders, with their neighbors, we'll be cutting turf lists and going door to door, going to events. We'll have teams of canvassers with like staff leads. So this is going to be a big day with a lot of energy, a lot of folks out and about, targeting some of the areas that we still need more signatures in the hope to close some more out. The sign up link I will drop in the chat now, and you can also scan that QR code. But this is going to be, we're really excited about this event that Representative Lorena Garcia has put together. She's one of she sits with Lisa on the executive committee of Protect Colorado's Future. And we're just really excited to get a big group of people together and hit the doors and hit some events. Lisa, did you want to add anything?
This is it. It does not get any more it than this. So when we think about 2076 and what that vision is, what we do right now, like we have these 2.5 weeks when what we do is going to have a greater impact on the trajectory toward that, to like start leaning toward where we want to go instead of moving into a year next year when we are taking away healthcare from people and we are reducing educational opportunities. So keeping, we've spent time looking at what that North Star and talking about what it should be. God, let's make sure that we don't, in 2.5 weeks, lose the opportunity to start that trajectory in the right direction. So anything that you can do, if you can't if verifying isn't possible and it's just too damn hot to gather signatures, you can donate to the campaign, and we will buy $6.50 buys us a signature in a challenging district. If you can, we're like Kristen said, we're working on a system so that people can verify from home with PDFs, and we're really going to need to do this. This is like 1/5 of what I need to do to just get through Mesa of the petitions that we got, so that we know we can finish with Mesa, Grand Junction, and move them on. This is the moment. This is the moment. So send people, post that link. Maybe put in the public school strong link, because that's a good thing to share on social media. Kristen, get other people to do this. This is it. If we don't get this on the ballot, we just had a conversation with a potential consultant, and said, do you think we can win? And he said, I would not be bidding on this if I didn't know that you can win. There is such a good pathway. This is the year. So this is the year, and we can't let this opportunity pass us. We just can't. That last, if you can use this link, that public school strong one, to tell us that you want to come. And if you copy it and put it in any of your social media, and again, tell other people this is really exciting, please get other people to come. That would be great. If you go to protectcoloradosfuture.org and you want to give a donation that's going to turn directly into signatures, the donation button is really obvious on protectcoloradosfuture.com. But I can't say it any more. I certainly could say it more succinctly, but I can't say it any more powerfully than saying this is it. Dig in and let's get this done, and find other people to join you on this mission, because that's what's going to get us over the line. And the fact that we put it on the ballot this way is what is going to get it passed in the end. We're going to make history. We're going to make history, and we're going to start the path to 2076, the Colorado that we want.
Is there a version of this page that you can forward to us all beyond from I can't seem to copy it off the chat, so I'm just wondering about, Kristen, if you can maybe send that QR code or something, or some brief explanation of what it is all about that we can then use to forward ourselves, but I can't seem to copy what you got here.
Yes, I will, for the canvassing event on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I will send that out.
That would be great. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for staying on for an extra 5.
So as Lisa said, of course, we are hustling in the next few weeks. And one more way that you can help us, as we've talked about, is to come in and help us verify. I know a bunch of you have been here for these shifts already. And like I said, we're working on getting that remote system up and running as well. With that, I know it's a few minutes over 5:30. Thank you all so much for being here and for staying. Again, our next Advocates Network meeting is next month on August 11th. I will not be here because I am getting married on August 1st, 2 days before the petition turn-in deadline. And then
I thought you were zooming in from your honeymoon. No?
Maybe I might have bad service that day.
Right.
I'm not sure, but we look forward to having something to celebrate with you all on August 11th, and to start in the next phase of this work together. So we hope to see you at our next meeting, and we hope to see you this Saturday if you can make it, or at a verification shift or anything else. Thank you all so much, and I'll stay on for a moment if anyone has any last minute questions. But otherwise, have a great night, and thank you.
Sorry that I didn't get this